Have you ever wondered why some people are so much more productive in their 24 hours than others and make it look easy? Well, one of the driving reasons for this is because they're extremely organized. As when you're extremely organized, you're able to switch to tasks faster, you're able to collect and retain and actually use more information than you could otherwise, and just overall spend your more time effectively on higher leverage tasks. So in this video here, I'll be sharing with you the 6 things highly productive people do to stay organized. So before I hop into the 6 things that productive people do to stay organized, it's first important to understand why you actually should be organized, as organization isn't really that fun of a subject, but it's absolutely crucial if you want to increase your productivity. So the first reason why you'd want to be more organized is you're just able to get more done in less time, as it takes you less time to switch tasks or to recall that information that you may have needed. And as a result, you're not wasting your time doing all this busy work just looking around, but rather you can focus on things that are being more productive and actually producing results. So that kind of touches on my second point, which is you're able to focus on higher and bigger goals. As when you're more organized, you can truly understand what your end goal is. Now, that's not to say that that end goal can't change, but you need to have a North Star that you're going towards. As when you're organized, you can take that North Star and break it down into goals for the quarter, goals for the month, goals for the week, and even goals for the day. So therefore, you know, each and every single day, you're taking actions towards your bigger goals. And since you're taking actions towards your bigger goals, you're not stressed about finding where that notepad went that you wrote during your meeting. You will find yourself being less stressed as you understand of all those deadlines coming up, so nothing pops up in your face. This allows you just to be more stress-free, as you don't have to have 1,000 thoughts running in your mind, as you have systems and processes that we'll touch on in a moment that allow you to just remind yourself, so then you can focus your time, your energy, and just your brain power in general on the tasks at hand instead of remembering something that someone said or remembering a deadline. So if you're new here, my name is Matthew. I'm a realtor in the GTA, and this is just my channel where I share everything I've learned around real estate, finance, and personal development, helping you get the information you need to make better decisions in your own life. So if that's of interest, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to not miss out on any future videos that I'll be posting. And if you find one tip or one strategy or one system in this video that helps you be more organized, make sure you smash the like button, as it really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. So what are those processes and techniques you can do today in order to stay more organized and be more productive, like the most productive people on this planet? Well, the first thing you need to realize is that productive people don't store information in their brains. And the reason why this is that when you store information, you want that information to be remembered. And unfortunately, more times than not, the information you remember in your brain, that memory fades over time. So right there, it already shows you that the brain is not a good system in order to remember more information. But also, when you're remembering stuff with your brain, you take your brain power away from the task you're currently doing to try to retain the information you're trying to remember for later, allowing you not to have a clear brain and clear focus on the task at hand. So then the question becomes, how do you determine which system and process will be able to store information successfully compared to the ones that will fail? And while I have some criteria you might want to take into consideration. So the first criteria that I look for and other highly productive people look for is ensuring a system that can store and retain information long-term without losing it. Now, there's a bunch of apps that could do this for you, including Google Drive, Microsoft OneNote, Evernote, and the one I use personally, Notion. So now that you found a system that stores information long-term, that information is only good if it's usable. And in order for it to be usable, you need to have the ability to recall it. So that's our second criteria, as I truly believe if you're just taking notes for note's sake and you're never able to access that information again, what is the point in taking that note? So when you're looking for a system, ensure that there's some way to either organize the files so they're easily accessible for you in a later date, or a search function that you can look up things that you need to know in that moment. So I know for a fact all the apps that I mentioned before all have an ability to look up information inside their software. Now, what I use personally is Notion, and the reason why this is not only does it have a lookup feature, but I can create dedicated pages to different themes. So for instance, I take notes on all the books I've ever read about personal finance. Then on my Notion, I have a personal finance page where it links all the books that I've ever read, all the highlights that I've ever done on these books. So then when it's time to make a financial decision, not only can I retain the information that I already have in my brain, but I can reference books from people that are written way smarter than me to make a better and more informed decision. So this is just one example of how I use Notion in order to stay more organized and just make better decisions overall. If you're interested in seeing my Notion setup and exactly how I use Notion, comment below and I'll create a video happily explaining my process and maybe even a template you can use yourself. So the third and final criteria that I look for when choosing a system and process to store my information is the ability to use it anywhere. And luckily, again, all the apps that I mentioned before are able to be provided both on the mobile and desktop. So regardless of whether you're working at home, at your desk, or you're on the move on your phone, you'll be able to access those notes to either recall information or input anything that you learn. So if you're thinking that you want to stay more organized with a physical notebook, that's completely all right. Just ensure that it goes with you the majority of time so that you don't miss out on being organized during those moments that you step away and you don't have that book to write anything down. So the second thing highly productive people do to stay organized is they build systems around their own personal experiences and not dogma. And what this means is essentially, well, yes, I would highly encourage you start with someone's template of a Notion template or someone's template of how to organize your folders in Google Drive. What I would recommend is as you learn that system and process, you adapt it to your needs and your wants. As everyone that is going to build a system is going to have slightly different aspirations, different goals, different motivations, and just a different way of thinking. And if you're stuck in someone's rudimentary ways of thinking, it may not align fully with you and not have that quality system that you could be implementing if you just took a little bit of time and customized it to your goals, your desires, and just the way you think. So with that said, I don't think you should customize a whole system right out of the gate to stay more organized, but start extremely simple with a template of someone else's, and slowly as you go and as you work through and with that system, you'll notice deficiencies. And then just build on those deficiencies or try to correct them as you go. As if you build up this system to be absolutely perfect, I guarantee you when you start using it, it's never going to be actually perfect. You're always going to find more improvements. So keep in mind, these systems and processes are put in place to help you be more productive and not spend more time on it. So try to just increase it and improve it little by little over time. And by a year, you'll be surprised how much you can optimize a system to your needs. So the third thing highly productive people do to stay more organized is that they reset their environment back to neutral every time they're done with it. Now, this is a simple and pretty basic concept I learned from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, and it essentially states that when you're done using a room, put everything back to where it belongs, essentially resetting that room back to neutral. So by resetting your room back to neutral, you'll be able to then start another task faster, as one, you'll know where everything is, but two, when your room is clear, at least for myself, I find I have clearer thoughts. With a messy room, I have messier thoughts and not able to focus at the task at hand as well because there's more distractions around me. Now, if that's you, this is something that will be an absolute game changer, especially if you reset your environment back to neutral every night. As when I wake up in the morning for myself, when I reset my office back to neutral, I'm able to hit the ground running as I'm not having to worry about where I put my notebook, where I put my laptop, and I'm able to start work sooner and focus on higher leverage tasks than simply cleaning up my room. The fourth thing highly productive people do to stay more organized is they're deliberate with their purchases. And this is by no means saying that you need to be a minimalist, as I enjoy stuff as well, but what this is saying is that you need to be mindful with your purchases. As if you're just buying things to buy things, it's just going to clutter up your environment and not to mention also just waste your money. So one of the key questions I ask myself on a routinely basis to help me be more mindful in my purchases is I ask myself before I purchase something, is this purchase going to help me be more joyful and bring me happiness? Is this process going to help me save more organized and save time? Or is it going to help me reach my goals? If it doesn't attain one of those three things, there's no reason, at least for myself to see, to buy something. So this is not to mention that when you have more stuff just around, you have to spend more time maintaining it and cleaning it and taking care of it. Now, this is fine if you enjoy it and it brings utility, but if it's just sitting around or you bought it to keep up with the Joneses, then it's simply wasting your time as you're spending more time organizing this stuff. And keep in mind, highly productive people, while yes, they're extremely organized, they don't want to spend a lot of time being organizational because they are organized to increase their efficiency with their time. And therefore, the systems and processes they put in place is to reduce the time on lower leverage tasks so that they can focus on higher leverage tasks. So higher leverage tasks don't have to be things that are just results driven from your business or work, but it can be also just personal things, which kind of brings me to my fifth point that highly productive people do to stay organized is that they develop routines. Now, these routines are key as what you do on a daily basis will help you predict where you'll be in the next year, in the next 5 years. And when you develop a routine, you're essentially organizing your life around key aspects you're choosing to focus on. Now, for myself, one of the key aspects I truly focus on is my physical health. And what I do is I schedule every morning at 7 a.m. I am in the gym working out. And what's funny about this is when I was just getting into the start of working out and it wasn't really part of my routine, there was a lot of different tasks that would pop up that I had to do that would impede on me working out. But what I realized is that I had to make working out a priority, as when you make it a priority, everything else will fall around it. Now, this doesn't have to just be about working out. It could be about reading 30 minutes a day. It could be about meditating for 15 minutes a day. It could be about spending more quality family time. Whatever it is, develop the routine of key aspects you need to do on a daily basis and don't budge. Maybe be flexible occasionally with the time you do them, but ensure that you get them done, as what you do on a daily basis will have a reflection in what you are in 1 year and 5 years out. So if you're saying now, I can't develop a routine, routines aren't for me, well, I would beg to differ, as at least one or two things you do habitually on a daily basis. And my guess is, I guarantee you, you're on your phone on Instagram on a daily basis. That is a routine of checking it. So you can develop routines, but you choose not to, either because you lack the discipline that is required to instill a routine until it becomes a lifestyle, or you lack time management issues. As when you can't organize your time, you can't prioritize the tasks you're doing every day. And it's absolutely essential you organize your time, as this is the most valuable asset you'll ever have. Now, when you're trying to develop a routine, this isn't to say you need to work out for a solid hour. That's a hard workout where you burn 1,000 calories, but start simple, as this will help you build up your discipline and your time management thing. So if your goal is to work out more often, rather than start with that 1,000 calorie 1 hour workout, start with that 15-minute walk every morning. Build that routine of just showing up and getting that walk in, and over time, increase it until you get that desired result you so desire. Now, the sixth and final thing that highly productive people do to stay more organized is that they reflect and purge on a regular basis. So the majority of things we've chatted about on this list have been adding things into your life in order to become more organized. But as you continually add more things, more and more things will stack, and soon you'll be overwhelmed with too many things. Now, this is why it is so key to sit back at least on a monthly basis, if not every week, and ask yourself, where did I waste time? How can I improve? As when you do this, you'll be able to optimize and use your time more efficiently. So by taking a step back every routine, you're able to sit back and reflect and look objectively of how you're spending your time. And when you realize that life is just a big do-it-yourself project where you're putting it up and getting torn down and putting it up and getting torn down again, then you'll realize that there is no one completion, as everyone always has something to improve on how they use their time more effectively. If the smartest people and the most productive people have time to spend 1 hour a week or 1 hour a month to sit back and reflect and look on it, so do you have that hour. It's just about you, whether or not you have the discipline to sit down and reflect on your time management in order to do that. So like anything else in life, you need to have discipline and make it a priority if you want to become more organized in your life. And I promise you, as you become more organized, you'll get more stuff done in a day, allowing you to achieve bigger goals. So if you enjoyed this video and you found a system, a process put in place, make sure to hit the like button, as it really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to see my Notion setup and what I do to stay organized in all aspects of my life, make sure to comment below and I'll happily create a video going over all the systems and processes I use personally. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a great and successful week, and I'll talk to you next week.